courtesy of Boxpan and Chilala. So Chilala decides, let us use my Kungfu, so Wing Chun and Xinyi Liuhe. Let us see if we can use that in a boxing match. So, taking on someone bigger than him too. Or this could be the camera's tilted. If you look, yeah, camera's definitely tilted. So, don't believe in the size difference. Ooh, Chilala really testing his own reactions, his own distance management. Let's see what happens. Got a little interesting little guard right there. All right, working on his head movement. His chin's a little high, but so far his distance management, his head movement is working. So, wow, very, very different approach. I mean, still sort of baiting with his chin, right? Chilala does that a lot, but head movement's getting better. See? So, Chilala, as you guys know, cross-trains a lot. But he tries his best to stick to his Kung Fu training. No, don't do that, Chilala. Oh, he played an iron chin, man. Oof, I am not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. Oh, man. Ooh, nice. Some of that power generation is different, right? Different than boxing. So, for those who are like, where's the Kung Fu? Look at some of his power generation. The force is a little different. The force vector, whatever you call it. Some of the flair could be Kung Fu, but it's hard, right? It's hard when it's only boxing. But you just, ooh, he ate that one. Chilala ate that one. Wow. That was the end of the first round, guys. Wow. Not bad, Chilala. So, look at that. That's his corner right there. Okay, getting some water. Get that mouth guard in. Maybe his mouth guard was already in. Chilala in his 40s, man. Oh no. Camera. Yeah, there we go. You could argue some of those parries, some of those frames might be from his Kung Fu. Okay, yeah. Those are maybe some applications of his Wing Chun. Ooh, nice. Another cross lands. Oh, ooh, Chilala almost got caught. Nice head movement. I like this Chilala, man. I like this Chilala. I just wish his chin could be tucked a little. But, I mean, it's fairly impressive. Man. Wow. Nice cross. Got him. Southpaw versus Orthodox, by the way. Nice lead hook. Oh! Wow. My goodness, guys. Dude. Barely the start of the second round, and the guy's still out. Wow. Good job, Chilala. That was awesome. Wow. Guys, what do you say Chilala comes to Florida to the next Hurricane X event? Not this one that I'll be. By the way, I'll be in Florida next month. But the next event, maybe in July or maybe in August? What if Hurricane Santana's second event, Chilala comes? What do you guys think, guys? I already told Hurricane Santana, by the way, so I'm going to let Chilala know. All right, guys? What do you guys think? Wow, that guy's still... Okay, finally woke up. Hey, good attitude, right? Good attitude. He's not going to remember this fight, so he's going to have to look at the replays to kind of see where he went wrong. But one of the things we can see immediately, he kind of played into Chilala's game, right? Like, you could just counter-strike. In fact, Chilala played the counter-striking game very well in this. That's Bonbon right there, dressed as Chung-Li. We can just very briefly watch some of this again. Again, right? See, Chilala kept baiting him in. And I know it's hard to just be like, okay, I'll let you come in, right? But that being said, though, he wasn't really responding too well either to Chilala's explosiveness. So, yeah, maybe applying that forward pressure was the right thing to do. Because, like, every time Chilala attacked, our guy wasn't able to correctly defend either. So, yeah, I think the other thing is he already lost the mental game. Everyone knows, like, Chilala's world famous now. So this guy, I think he's a little bit more skilled than he let on. You see right there? Good cross, right? Than how he performed in this match. It's just, I think he got a little intimidated because Chilala's world famous, partly because of my channel, but, like, not just because of my channel, right? So sometimes you have to be like, I don't care. I'm going to fight the way I know how to fight, right? He definitely fought a little timid, and he got caught up in the hype, and he kind of, like, forgot his game plan. / didn't have a game plan.
So it's really cool that you guys like my stories. So today I decided to tell them during the daytime. And what this bounce also does is it's like I have a podium. It's like I'm talking on a podium. Yesterday I talked about my first Kung Fu coach. Today let's talk about my second Kung Fu coach. So my second Kung Fu coach was in China. So after Chicago, I was back in China for a few years. Now he was very different. He believed in corporal punishment. For those of you who don't know, corporal punishment is basically hitting. He had this little stick, and so he would use it both to correct our movements. If your movements were really bad, he'd hit you. But if you're goofing off or not following instructions, he would also hit you. So it's like a dual purpose type of corporal punishment. Tang Lao Shi. So again, no ego. He never expected us to call him Sifu or Shifu or master, just teacher, right? Tang Lao Shi. Tang Lao Shi wasn't a very tall guy. I mean, a lot of these stereotypical Kung Fu bodies, not very tall, but could kick this high. Him with this stick, nobody messed with him. There's this one kid, always got hit. What was funny about this kid was he invented sass before sass was a thing in China. Like, he was so sassy. Every time he'd get hit, he would throw a tantrum. It became like a meme in the class. Like, every class, it would escalate where, he would do something wrong, teacher would hit him, and then he'd immediately start crying, and he'd be like, "You hit me again? I'm gonna take your stick and I'll break it in half." All of us stand there, we're like, "Oh," because after all, you're gonna match the speed of our Kung Fu teacher? Probably not, right? So what would our Kung Fu teacher do? Hit him again. And there was no way that kid could grab his stick, and then he'd cry even more. He'd be like, "You try that again, man. I'm gonna take your stick and I'll break it." So this would last like 5 minutes. He'd try to get him to stop. He would hit him until he basically furan. So the Chinese word furan means like he submits. It got to the point where he had a nickname. It's funny because I don't think teacher Tang was from Sichuan because he didn't speak the dialect that I was used to. And the reason I know is because the dialect of Sichuan, we don't do the we don't roll our tongue. The neighboring, now it's its own municipality, but back then Chongqing, which a lot of you know, one of the biggest cities in the world, Chongqing used to be part of Sichuan, but it's too big, so it got carved into its own little municipality. In Chongqing is when they would roll the tongue at the end. Teacher Tang gave him the nickname Kusibar, as you would say. But because in the Sichuan dialect, we never used the R at the end, I didn't actually understand what he was addressing him as. So in Sichuan, you would say something like Kusiba. You wouldn't have the R at the end. Basically in Mandarin, Kusiban, basically you're an actor that always cries. You're the actor that specializes in crying. Because he hit the kid and the kid would cry and throw a tantrum. By the second year of class, everyone knew him as Kusibar or Kusiban. So then the final part, I'm sure you guys are curious, did I get hit? And the answer is of course. Usually my movements were okay, but the issue is sometimes I would goof off in class. No matter where you were goofing off, he would come over and he would smack you with the stick. Of course he was smart about it. No smack in the face, right? Always smack the hand, smack the arm, smack the body, or smack the leg. It's corporal punishment, right? It's not abuse. Although actually, that is debatable. That is debatable, especially with modern educational science. I'd be talking in class and then, suddenly out of nowhere he'd come and everyone that was talking, smack him with a bamboo stick. The most memorable time, a lot of spin stuff, right? Spin kicks and stuff like that. One time, he expressly told us, "You do 2 of these," but I only did 1 and I slacked. So he called me out in front of the whole class. He's like, "Hey, Jerry, how many were you supposed to do?" I was like, and I was like, "I'm supposed to do 2. He's like, "How many did you do?" I was like, 1. And it's like, "Stick out your hand." And in front of the whole class, bam, that bamboo stick landed straight at my palm. These stories are funny in retrospect when you're older, but man, class was stressful. I didn't enjoy going to Kung Fu class like back when I had teacher Feng, right, in Chicago. So these 2 years, there were quite a few days where I didn't want to go. My parents had to force me to go to Kung Fu class. Of course, my movements improved a lot, right? Under this type of stress, it's like sink or swim, I think is the right expression in English. The thing I have to admit is that guy called Kusiban, the guy who always threw a tantrum, the sassy kid, that was one of the few dark humor things I looked forward to in class, because it's like, if this kid is gonna take 5-10 minutes throwing a tantrum, then that means there's 5-10 minutes less of me potentially being the one on the receiving end of his stick. Every day when that kid threw a tantrum, I cherished it. I laughed along. My mom even told me, it's like, don't laugh at these things, man. Don't call him the nickname that the teacher gave him. Treat him like your friend. He took the stress out of a lot of our Kung Fu training because of it. I might do a 2 or 3-parter in this because there's a lot to reflect on from this part of the journey. Thank you guys so much. If you guys want more, Let me know in the comments. Talk to you guys soon.